pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thank you all for coming to this April meeting of the Human Services Committee. We'll start with an approval of minutes. Any comments about the minutes? If not, look for a motion. Motion. Second. Second. In favor? Aye. Any opposed? HS1. To our resolutions. HS1 is a resolution awarding professional services contract RFP number 24 DSS-002 for drug and alcohol testing services. The purchasing department solicited requests for proposals from multiple firms to provide drug and alcohol testing services and determined the proposal from Farnham meets the county's needs. We therefore encourage approval of this contract with Farnham. It's not to exceed an annual cost of $182,141.95 annually in year one. That year is running from 6/1/24 till 5/31/25, and in year two it's a not to exceed 189,856.08 in year two. Look for a motion on HS1. Second. Motion and a second. Any questions? This. Any? So could you? So this is. What kind of testing services are these exactly?
Gidget is here, and that is run out of her integrated services division. You want to speak a little bit about what we do?
Yes, good afternoon. So the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance requires that all adult applicants and recipients of temporary assistance or cash goes through a mandated alcohol screening and assessment if necessary. This is the contract that provides us with KSAC staff on site, which are certified alcohol and substance abuse counselors who sit in the agency and actually provide real-time screenings, assessments, and monitoring their ongoing treatment in order to remain eligible for assistance.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. HS1 passes. HS2 is a resolution authorizing budget modification, Department of Social Services for services overtime. This is to increase overtime payments budget line by $256,025. DSS has said that this projects to cover the need, hopefully through the end of 2024, until after hiring, training, and measurable productivity for new employees. Our services wages are reimbursed at 62% state, 38% local share. The local portion for this budget modification is being moved from underspent salaries and wages, so it's budget neutral. I'll look for a motion on HS2 for discussion. Motion. Got a first and a second. So we're hoping that that's going to get us through the year. And does anybody have any questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? HS2 carries. HS3, it's a resolution to transfer funds from Insurance Recovery Fund to Department of Social Services Automotive Supplies and Repair account. It's a budget modification to transfer $6,185 from the Insurance Recovery Fund to Automotive Supplies and Repair line to repair a fleet vehicle that was in an accident on February 21st, 2024. Look for a motion to discuss.
Make a motion. A second.
Any questions or discussion?
The individual all right? The person okay?
Yes.
That's good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's it for our resolution. For the record, our HS3 from last month, I've requested for that to come back to the full legislature on May 9th. And with that, we have appointments to members of the Long-Term Care Council. We make a motion on this to accept this list if we agree. So the Long-Term Care Council functions as an advisory capacity to New York Connects of Oswego County by representing the interests of individuals in need of long-term care services. Did you want to speak to it a little bit, Sarah?
Sure. So as part of the funding that the Office for the Aging receives from the state for New York Connects, it is a requirement to have a long-term care council. So it's individuals in the community. We meet quarterly to discuss the concerns where there's lack of services, so that we can make recommendations to the state if needed.
Okay, you have a list of names in our packet. Does anybody have any questions about anything about the Long-Term Care Council or any of the members that are being proposed?
I just wanted to say, I put in the term to expire, it's wrong.
Okay.
These are replacement appointments because of people who are no longer participating. So it should be March 31st, 2025. So this is a 1-year appointment. Next year, we'll come back and it'll be the slate of the full council. That'll come for approval for 3 years at that time.
Well, then I'll make a motion to add the slate recommended as proposed in the informational memo with terms to expire 3/31/2025. For a second. Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We have guests from the Oswego County Early Childhood Alliance program with an update. They did receive ARPA funding and they wanted to come and speak to us today. So why don't you introduce yourselves and take it away.
Hi everybody, I'm Brandy Kaprowski. I'm the Executive Director at Integrated Community Planning, ICP. I have with me Sydney Carter today, who's here courtesy of ARPA funding, so a big thank you for that, because now we actually have paid staff to assist with this. Yeah, you're going to be better at that than I am. Yes. So I'm just going to take a quick minute to give a little bit of a brief history, taking it back a little bit. We really started talking about this back in 2019 and all the way through 2021 until we kind of came up with a more formalized framework and developmental plan. In 2022, the momentum grew. We added to our executive committee, which you will see here are the 6 members of our executive committee for the OCECA. Through that, we were able to apply for the ARPA funding, for which we are very grateful, and hire Sydney as our full-time coordinator for the OCECA. And since her addition, we've been able to really gain momentum even further and accelerate all of our progress, which has been amazing. We were able to secure funding for Help Me Grow for the next 2 years, which Sydney will talk a little bit about as well, both through the Health Foundation for Western and Central New York and through state funding, subcontracted through DOTS for TOTS. And we've been able to really progress quite a bit. So I'm going to turn it over to Sydney and let her kind of talk about what's happening with the ECA and some of the initiatives that we're going to have moving forward and some of the achievements.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm Sydney Carter. I started in November as the coordinator with the Early Childhood Alliance. I have been able to kind of take everything that the executive committee was working on and just start running with it. And there has been a lot of information, a lot for me to go on. The mission of the Early Childhood Alliance is to facilitate cross-sector collaboration and engagement among community organizations to build a comprehensive and effective system of care for children ages 0 to 5 in order for them to thrive. So really focusing on kids before they get to kindergarten and helping support them and their families. Kind of taking the resources and services that the organizations in our county offer and building a system so that everybody knows who does what and families know where they can go if they need something. Help Me Grow is a big part of the Early Childhood Alliance. We're actually launching Oswego County Help Me Grow on May 7th, which I'll talk a little bit more about. But Help Me Grow is a national system model. There's 5 affiliates in New York State, and it focuses on promoting developmental advancement, early detection of developmental delays and disabilities, and linkage to resources and services. So we are utilizing the ASQ Ages and Stages developmental questionnaire to track those milestones for kids before they get to kindergarten. And Our Help Me Grow coordinator and I have also built out a resource and service directory that's specific to those who serve families with young children in Oswego County, so that we have something to go off of. And when families, when Help Me Grow goes live, families will be able to call 211 and be connected with our coordinator, Emma, and she'll do intake into our database, support them through the developmental screening, and also link them to any resource or service that they need in the county. The Oswego County Diaper Bank is, I'm a little excited about it. So Oswego County, like when we were building out this resource and service directory, we realized that Oswego County, there is no resource for diapers. If there's a family in Oswego County that has a diaper need, there's nowhere for them to go. So after I identified this need, I brought it to the executive committee, and I was given permission to write for funding, and we were officially given some funding last week to start a diaper bank in Oswego County. So that's very exciting. We were given $2,500 from an Excellus Health and Wellness Award, and that is enough to purchase 10,000 diapers. So that's exciting. Talking is Teaching, Talk, Read, Sing. This is a campaign through the Clinton Foundation, and it's basically just materials that we're hoping to blast out into the county that kind of just reminds parents to talk, read, and sing to their kid during all daily activities, grocery shopping, bath time. There's always an opportunity to enhance their vocabulary.
Do you promote the Imagination Library through that? as
Yes, we do. So I am actually on the leadership team for the Literacy Coalition.
well? Very good, thank you.
This is supposed to be my video. Oh, there it is. Got it. Okay, I'm going to show you a 3-minute video. Hopefully
What
it's not
if you
the
could take action to reduce crime,
of your life.
improve health and education levels, increase family incomes and state revenues, and improve the quality of life in communities throughout the state? Where would you begin? Science tells us that we may find the solutions to these complex social problems in early childhood, when the architecture of the brain begins to form. Brain architecture is built over time and shaped by experiences, starting in the earliest years of life. The most important experiences come from the environment and relationships that interact with each child. Parents, extended family, and caregivers of all kinds. But serious adversity early in life can disrupt healthy brain development. Both brain architecture and behavior are increasingly difficult to change as individuals get older. So what happens early matters for a lifetime. Now imagine take action to improve the lives of children and quality of life in this community. Where and when that action is most effective? The links between policy, parenting, and brain architecture become much more clear when we can see how formative family and community environments affect child development. For example, policymakers may make their communities safer, or improve children's learning, or reduce the cost of chronic health problems. A child raised in this environment may experience lower levels of stress and more opportunities for learning. That leads to sturdy brain architecture and a healthy stress response system, which prepare the child to achieve higher levels of literacy and other skills early in life, and later leads to improved school achievement and decreased dropout rates. Positive early experiences can also reduce levels of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. Increased health and education levels can have positive effects across society, like reduced crime and increased income and tax revenues. Policies affect both individuals and communities, so making wise choices that support brain development can improve health, behavior, and learning throughout life.
So we just thought that video illustrated really well the importance of intervening in early childhood. So this is kind of a timeline of
Drinking warm water before bed balances blood sugar levels. Type 2. Thousands of people are...
Just exit that out. Got it. At the top, play to the left, up, to the, yep, right there. Oh, I got it. There. Hang on. Okay, so this is a timeline of the Early Childhood Alliance since the Early Childhood Alliance launched in January of last year. So we found out that we were, or the executive committee found out that they were getting the ARPA funding in March of last year, and then they held the 2 community forums in April and October, and then I started in November. And then we got the funding from Health Foundation to do Help Me Grow, and we also hired our Help Me Grow coordinator in February of this year. So what's next is our Oswego County Help Me Grow launch event, which is on May 7th, and everybody is invited to. I do have a slide at the end with the invitation and like the RSVP code. The Oswego County Diaper Bank, I have also submitted letters of intent to the Shinneman Foundation and plan to submit or write for funding through other community foundations as well. The more funding that we get for the Diaper Bank, the more kids we can serve with that initiative. Talking is Teaching is, I had a meeting with them this morning to become an official partner with that, so that's exciting too, and hopefully we can start seeing those materials around the county. And then I also submitted a letter of intent to the Mother Cabrini Health Foundation to sustain the Early Childhood Alliance after the ARPA funds run out in the fall of 2025. So this is the invitation for the Help Me Grow launch event. Does anybody have any questions? I brought copies of the slideshow and then some of our RAT cards, but I don't know if I brought enough, so I can start passing them around, or if you guys want to pass them around, you guys can all keep those. But we have flyers, RAT cards, if anybody knows of any organizations that would like to promote Help Me Grow.
The Curtis Manor.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Curtis Manor from 12 to 3.
I apologize, I won't be there, I'm traveling.
Any questions for us?
Thank you.
Thank you. Should I just jump out? Okay.
Oh yeah, this is the first, I don't know if I'm not the recipient coming and give us a report. Appreciate it. Cool. Oops. Well, thank you for coming and thank you for your work. I know that during the work that we did on the poverty task force, there was one thing that struck me was a ratio of $1 spent in early childhood came back about 7 or 8 times later on. Literacy obviously being incredibly important, so thank you for your work. Okay, anybody have any questions, comments? And we're going to go on, and Brian, you're up. Where's the
Alrighty, maybe going to see the next PowerPoint. It's a quick one.
All right, man, this is like showtime.
Well, alright, so remember back in December, I think it was, I given you an update on our grants. We have over $1 million in grants right now, but are winding down with Parks and Rec. So first one being at Legends, this is some pictures of what it looks like right now. This is early last week that the turf is down, part of the fencing, everything is going back up. So we're moving along with that. The last picture I'm going to show you on here, this one, as you can see right here, this is a sod that was just put down last week that takes about a week to 10 days to settle.
Were you drinking that day?
That is actually a Tim Stahl picture. So that may explain everything, but anyways, with this being done, once the sod is settled in, then teams can start playing on it. So literally, as an update for you, we're getting calls daily from when people get on the fields. Currently Oswego, Mexico, and Phoenix are all talking about wanting to use it right now with scheduling. So it's moving along. The weather was a little bit non-cooperative for us this past spring. That, we all thought we had a mild winter, but we got that snow late, and that between that and actually I'm learning sod is very hard to find at this time of year apparently. So those are the things. But once that's done, the fields will be ready to go. Raven made this beautiful flyer that I think most of you or all of you received. So we are planning our first pitch on May 17th. That is the first tournament that Champion Sports is running. It will be a full house. They have a full tournament playing that weekend. So we're looking to have 6 first pitches, if not all going off at the same time. So we're, Team Betsy, Raven, and Tim and I are planning to coordinate 6 pitches all to go at first time between softballs and baseball. So if you can make it, I know my friend Sarah has told me she will be there. It will be a, we kind of are in the same office area now. It'll be a good thing to just go off to show all the hard work that's been put in and where we stand with that right now. So, Camp Zerby, a couple updates there. As you can see, this is the old bathhouse. So as you can tell, Legislature Yurden has been promoting this new bathhouse. As you can tell by the old one, it was definitely needed. This bathhouse right here, though, will remain. It's just having some renovations done to it that, as you can tell, are absolutely needed. That's another photo of that. So right here is the groundbreaking. So the new bathhouse, they did break ground on it. So they are building that, so they're on target to, we're hopeful to have this be completed before we get very busy, although we have people using Zerby 3 days this week at different events, including I believe the sheriff is using it one of the days up there. So we are already starting to see, being that May 1st is this week, that's really when all our rentals kick in and we have things happening. So there's more pictures of what's happening at Zerby with the bathhouse under construction. And then at Camp Hollis, the bluff, with anybody that's familiar with the bluff about what it looked like or the pictures I showed you before, these are some more up-to-date photos of what the bluff currently looks like. They're almost completed with that as well. As you see, we will have a walkway down out of this year that will stay. So for people using kayaking out there or canoeing or anything along those lines, they're going to keep that pathway that they had to build for themselves to be able to do different things with equipment. We asked that they keep that, and it's been engineered in to where that'll be a walkway down to the water for when the time comes through. They're expected to be done with this within the next couple of weeks. I believe this week, weather permitting, they're going to be putting the fencing back up and things to that matter that they took down, taking up the temporary road, and working with the planting of the greenery that's required. And then Independence Trail, we do have a red grant that we have altered a little bit, but from what we are going to do, you can see this water off to the right. That was the problem during the high water with Lake Ontario. That part is still happening where they're going to clean that out and we're going to maintain it, but there's different design they're going to do with this. Flows into the lake, and all those rocks and things like that during the high water all kind of mixed in there, and part of that's where the flooding came from was there's nowhere for the water to go. So these things are all being addressed by the engineer at Independence Trail for them to work on that. And while we were there, this is what you've been talking about with their science fiction bug problem. This is the bags that they've put up that they're going to release the flies into, which will be out there. And as you see this one, I did stretch the photo, but because I wanted you to be able to see that they are tagged. So if somebody was to go up and say, what in the heck is going on at Independence Trail, these do have tags on them explaining what they are, and they have a phone number on there and such like that to contact if you have questions as to what they have. So all the trees are marked that have these, and they have these tags on them as well to let people know if they're looking what actually is happening out there. That's my quick slideshow on in Parks and United. Does anybody have questions on that before I move on?
Back to the Legends Field, how are you making out with the girls softball league?
So we have, as of today, 131 girls signed up for girls softball. So we are moving right along pretty good with that. It continues to grow. That as like mostly any programming that you do, as you get closer to the date, more people are signing up, and we are sharing it more within different places. We're having schools now reach out to us, and once we get playing up there as well with the school sports that are going to be happening, we're going to have big flyers and stuff and posters to hang up there as well to advertise for it. So we're happy with where our numbers are with that right now, and I believe it'll continue to grow as we move forward. And we have all the different age groups covered, from the 5 to 8-year-olds to the 9 to 12-year-olds, and now the 13 to 16-year-olds are all expanding as well. So we do have good numbers with that happening with that.
I think that's great.
Camp Zerby, our summer camp is moving along as well too. All our weeks are filling up quickly. We are moving right along with our numbers to that. I estimate that will sell out within the next month. That I would think that will be completely closed out. Camp Hollis, our numbers are high too. We have 419 campers signed up so far. Traditionally in a year we usually do between 500 and 600 depending on the year. So again, being where we are at this point in time, I believe that we will sell out Camp House as well this year. Our staffing for both Legends and Zerby, I think I'm pretty good as of reading through this, that we have many of the applicants we're going through. Camp House, we still need some staffing. We still need one lifeguard. We need some kitchen staff, a night cook, and a kitchen cleaner helper if anybody knows anybody looking for any work to do this summer. I mentioned our grants like before. Our CFA grant that we have on the winterization of the Howlett's Lodge is again just about completed. There just needs to be some electrical, a new panel put on the outside and some fencing being put up, but B&G is working that, so that's all we have left to do out there. The Ready House project, I told you about that, and the bathhouse is groundbroken at Zerby and Independence Trail. So all 4 of those grants, I believe, will be closed by summertime. My friend Veronica will be looking at me funny if they're not. So they will be taken care of. Our pros program at the middle school is going into the final stretch, and that's been working really well. We're working on our numbers for the state, working with Dave and probation on different funding that we'll be closing out on that, but that's been a very successful program that we've been running at the middle school. Our youth summit, I've passed these out before, so I didn't bring enough copies for everybody, but if anybody needs one, is on June 5th. Many of you are involved in that and presenting to our 8th graders. Legislator Porasik is our guest of ceremonies that day. He gets to control the 500 8th graders, tell them when they can eat, when they can kick off, when they can get on their bus. He does a very good job at that, so that's an event that's happening. For Legislator Rehill, of note to you, our Splash into Reading program, as I've told you before, we're now in our 5th month. Over 62,000 pages were done the first month. December was a little bit slower, but we think that was the holiday season. There was 27,000 pages read. 38,000 pages were read in January and February, and then March had 21,000 pages read as to when we got in for that. So still a lot of reading happening within the programming, working with Splash for earning free time within the water park. Our Leadership of Civic Youth program is set to take back off this year. The new school year coming up this year, there was some housing issues with city BOCES with the different things they had going on, which made it be more hybrid, a little bit more challenge, but it'll be looking back in person next year back at BOCES. We do have a new program this summer, which is going to be working with the Oswego City School District. They've given us Kingsford Park School to run a program this summer a drop-in program. So we're putting that together right now to work with them with programming that we'll do, also with summer feeding and football reading type programs that we'll have. So that'll be a free program. New for this summer, we did a couple things over break I'll just touch on. One, we did they call it Spring into Fun, where they did a program here in Oswego at the Visitor Center last week. They also did a bivouac program. Am I saying that right? I'm not sure. That was at Camp Hollis. There was 38 kids who did it overnight last week on Friday. That was a program using sports, ropes, tours, traps, s'mores, campfire, all different things that Zach ran for the first time this year. And then we did a spring break bowling event in Fulton. We had 56 kids sign up and bowl at Lakeview Lanes last Friday. So that went well. We are submitting our AmeriCorps continuation grant today. We're moving forward with that. Our numbers have bounced back nicely so far this year that, again, like I said, the programs that we're doing ourselves, I've noticed that Hollis and Zerby and Independence Trail. One thing we haven't had in the last couple of years that we have now is a waiting list with different applicants coming in. So that's been a nice turnaround that we're seeing that bounce back. So,
Questions for Brian? All right, well, thank you.
thank you.
Eric, Veteran Services.
So starting tomorrow, it's the Vet Resources Community Network, it's a Northeast regional partners convening. This is, when I say Northeast, it covers Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, Vermont, part of Pennsylvania. The Institute for Veterans and Military Families has gotten all these organizations together and we're all meeting in Syracuse. So it's going to be about a day and a half. It ends Wednesday around 1:30 of just organization after organization discussing veterans, their benefits, suicide prevention, all different kind of things. So that's where I'll be the next 2 days. Due to that, Tuesday is the day that I'm in Oswego normally. So one of the guys, we have appointments there already, so one of the guys is going to fill in there. The other guy, Matthias actually got married this weekend, so he is out this week on his honeymoon. That being said, our office will be closed tomorrow. We don't have any scheduled appointments in Fulton, but anybody who walks in, we'll make sure we leave a note on the door with a number. We got our cell phone working, so we're going to leave that number on there so that they can call. Horton will pick up for them in Oswego and they can schedule a time to come back. Fresh Connect checks are going to be coming end of May, mid-June. Should be when we start getting those. We've already had a lot of veterans calling and asking about those. We did it last year. It was a very successful program. Nothing has really changed in a way of each veteran's going to get $50. And that program, I didn't learn this until I went through the training this year, is a little different than the other ones, whereas in our program they can buy fruits, vegetables, but they can also buy meats, dairy, eggs. They can pretty much purchase anything at the market that's not made to eat right then. So you can't get a cup of coffee or buy a donut, but you can buy coffee beans, you can buy, so it opens up a lot and it doesn't prevent them from any other programs that are out there, which was a concern of mine because I know other agencies type thing. So that's going to be coming. The only other thing I have is there was a veteran, Pat Comfort, contacted Legislator Marie Schatt, is I saying that right? And she called Jennifer Bray, and it was a complaint, but it wasn't towards our office. This veteran showed up at the building. He didn't have an appointment. He was going to be a walk-in, but he's in a wheelchair. And he sat outside for 10 minutes in the rain until somebody walked up and was able to open the door for him. So he was complaining about ADA compliance as far as automatic doors. I spoke to him, we talked about it, I told him I would bring it up at the committee meeting. I did do some research and looked into it. Automatic doors is not a requirement, but there are measurements that are required, which from looking at it, I'm not pretty sure that we meet that requirement. So when he returns, if the automatic door, there hasn't been a fix, he's probably going to complain yet. So I told him, he said, next time you come, by all means, call us. We will meet you down at the door, and we'll let you in and help you get upstairs. Once he got up there, we did walk him back down, help him get out of the building and back to his car. So I just thought I wanted to bring that up if somebody had heard him. That's what. Other than that, everything's going good. Super busy as we have been. We're probably running 67 planes each out of that office right now. Open. Got the traffic set. So that's what I got. Anybody's got anything?
Questions? All right, folks, that's on. Hill. It's going all the way up or all the way down.
Here.
All right, sorry. All right, I'll make sure.
Okay, I pass these up for you through legislature bill and then just going to pass it. Real quick one second, Jill, I don't know if you'd like one as well. So, May is Older Americans Month. So as part of that, we have a few things going on. We supplied the state office for the aging with volunteers to recognize. Those names are Sue and Carol Worth of Parish, Father George Worth of Oswego. We will get the proclamation, and hoping that it will be a proclamation will be provided to Harold and Sue Ward at the legislature meeting on the 9th. We have not been able to get in contact with Father Word, so we are able to at a later date at that time. But also, the Words are also going to be traveling to Albany on 14th to be recognized by the state office for the aging, and I'll be going along with them at that time. At our family game night is part of that Tuesday, May 7th in Plasky at the Plasky Family Center at Southwood Way, 4:30 to 6. We have our intergenerational game, so the family game night. So hoping that our elderly will come with their younger generations, consider them, play some games for a little bit. We'll offer some light refreshments for them. Then we've also teamed up with City BOCES agriculture students, and they'll be going out to break yards for seniors in the village of Mexico. May 15th, rain day, May 7th. You know, any elderly in the village of Mexico, not the town, because we have gotten a few calls that are outside the village. It has to be within the village because it is students coming from BOCES, so it has to be within their range that they can travel and be able to support. And before today, I got an email from Habitat for Humanity. They want to partner with us to do raking other areas of the county as well. It would be the city of Folsom or city of Oswego, but I told them yes, I would love to sit down and chat with them and talk about that so that we can get some kind of program going for additional areas of the county. I'm also going to reach out both to the new mayors of Folsom and Oswego to see if there's something that they can think of how we can work with municipalities to get something for the residents. So, transportation updates. At our last meeting, I talked about some of the hurdles we've had with our out-of-county doctor appointment, medical appointments with local grandparents. We're still working with them to try to get additional drivers, but again, as I stated, they work with Lyft and Uber, and it's Lyft and Uber that decide whether they want to pick up a ride or not. So in more out of metropolitan areas, it is sometimes harder to get a driver to pick up those rides because they're not being paid from their travel from where they are to go pick them up. They're just being paid for the actual ride from point A to point B. It is a grant that we received from the State Office for the Aging. It's a little over $20,000. So I'm talking with other counties where we have increased the tip that the driver gets. Again, it's not county funds, it's state funds, hoping to encourage them if we give them a bigger tip that maybe they will pick up that ride. They don't have to worry about the mileage or the time to pick up that ride because they'll be getting a bigger tip. So far, we have completed 12 trips. They're all going to Syracuse, to the VA hospital, to up on the hill, as well as some trips out at Britain Fields. So we are making connections. They are getting rides. No one else has been left without a ride. We do encourage everyone to call to let them know that they may want to have a backup because it's out of our hands to schedule the ride, and we're more than happy to do that, but really it is in the hands of the Uber, whether that ride is complete. So we do make them very well aware when they call to let them know that if it's a serious appointment that they may want to consider other transportation methods or to have a backup method available to them. Okay. Are there any questions? Okay. So upcoming events we have, I'd say the day, our longest day event is Thursday, June 20th at the Farmers Market, and that is the longest day of the year. We always try to coincide it with the Farmers Market in Oswego. It doesn't always coincide on the longest day, but June 20th is the day with the most daylight to recognize and bring to light those who suffer from Alzheimer's dementia related. So we'll have a short presentation at 4:45, followed by a walk around the bridges to bring awareness to those who have Alzheimer's dementia. And also our senior picnic, we have scheduled that. It will be Wednesday, August 14th. It will be at the Mexico VFW. Once again, it's the center of the county, as well as it has a big pavilion, so if it does rain, we don't have to schedule a rain date on everyone. The pavilion is not out for weather. We worked with Empower Parkinson's to bring a speaker to Bishop Commons on April 9th, speaking of the Parkinson's disease journey. They said that we had the highest turnout of any of the presentations they've had here in Oswego County, which just brings to light how important and how wanted and needed some type of support for those who suffer with Parkinson's in the county. So we are now working with Empower Parkinson's, and they see the value they're going to be bringing to the caregiver support tool here to Oswego County monthly. We'll be in the health department training room to begin with, and then once we have our space on the other end of the building, we'll have it going in our office space. State budget, we're very disappointed in how it was what was passed. We did, like SOFA, or the State Office for the Aging, did get a little bit of extra money to be shared amongst all offices for the aging across the state, $700,000 additional, so going across 52 6 different organizations. That's not going to go very far. Depending on which funding stream they put that into, we will get some additional funding. But if it's in ISIP, the elderly, or expanded in-home services for the elderly, there is a cost match associated with that, so it's 25%. We have to find additional funding. So if it goes in unmet need, that's 100% funded. So we're really hoping that that's going to be an unmet need line. So if all the funding that we get goes to, there are no additional funding would have to be contributed anywhere else budget. Our Discover Live tours, which are, it's a Zoom tour across the world, have been going well. We had our first one at our dining center in Glasgow, and it was a tour of Macedonia. Each of the tours has a little tour flyer that goes with it, and it has menu, different recipes. They did make up a little drink that coincided with the tour. It was very well received. Our next one is coming up, and that was in Stockholm, Sweden. So it's been very well received by our seniors, and again, it's a live tour, so there's a live tour guide walking around, showing them. It's interactive. They can ask questions if they have. So, and one of the tours, 2 sites wanted it at the same time, so I was able to reach out to the state and said, is there somebody who's not using their subscription we can take? So we did get a second subscription so that the 2 sites and watch that full time. To get more animatronic pets in, so if you know anybody in the community that is really interested in the robotic pets and dogs, or to our office, we can get them assessed, we can get an animatronic pet out to them. LAQ, we have 23 of them in the community right now. They opened up or reduced the restrictions on them, so if you know anybody in the community that could really benefit from having that AI unit, it doesn't have to be a case management client anymore. So it could be somebody who's, wherever they may, that really is lacking in social connection, they're socially isolated. This will connect them with the artificial unit, but also can connect them to others in the community, family member. So if you think of anybody, forward them to us. The biggest caveat is that they have to have Wi-Fi. So if they don't have that, then we should let them out. We can have them sent right to them, or we can go out and install it with the case managers. That's pretty much it for updates, other than everything that goes on a daily basis.
Questions for Sarah? Departments of Services.
I guess plus parent appreciation. So it names where legislative to hopeful that a few more foster parents will come speak about this. We're holding steady with our foster care caseload. 185 children placed in foster care. About half of those being with Browning kids. Our staffing steps forward and step back. Some folks just, our systems, our programs are complex. Everyone come in and get their arms around the workload. So we're continuing to recruit. Again, our biggest pressure point is agents integrated services. And down 12, I think, at this point. So around 45%. Or more, actually.
I think that's about right.
About right, yeah, 5%. Caseworkers, got a lot of caseworkers being trained. We have put in some of our vacant caseworker spots senior caseworkers that are working part-time for us in order to review our backload of child protective investigations. And now that we're less than a handful of vacancies for caseworkers, next month it might have us to have some temporary part-time positions. So we can keep those folks who came out of retirement to help us until we can get that backlog down. You saw that data last month. We're 800 to 900 of backlog. So that's a lot of pieces for us to continue to say. Our director of services, Sarah, is here. Sarah, do you have anything you want to add?
The seniors who we're using to review the cases are part of, I guess you could call it QA. Seniors who supervise caseworkers on individual cases typically hear about the case from start until closure. So when they go to process the case, sometimes they fill in blanks that are missing in documentation, which then in turn causes us to miss state mandates. It's work that's been done most of the time. So these seniors, they're not familiar with these cases or how they've progressed. So they're able to catch those things that are missing or that haven't been done. So it serves a dual purpose. It's helping us move the workload along, but it's also ensuring that we're catching things that have been missed that are mandated by the state.
very well received. And I thank you again for your support, providing us with transportation, particularly children in foster care, with their bio parents, guardians, and their foster care supervisors. Transportation needs just over the last few years. And the issue now that we are attracting talent for caseworker aides to come in, be trained, and handle this vital responsibilities. But it's getting their hands on the larger vehicles. And so it looks like the vendor who they were supported to is not going to be able to come through. I'm not quite sure. Marty, do you have any more up to date about what we're going to do about? Yeah, we've got workers, but not vehicles. We worked with purchasing to put out a new bid to purchase vehicles. At the least price that just got way high. So we're hopeful that we can get some decent pricing on a larger SUV. Has to be with a third row, no locking windows in the back, all the safety features that we need. So we'll be figuring out, what the difference in cost was compared to what was budgeted for the original. It's a shame that will happen the way that it just happened. Greg Tipping has come to begin his work for EVA and getting that up and running. Gidget, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
We're in our third week, so we've had small groups within the team working, kind of testing the product. We've also been working very closely with IT to make sure our internal phone system is capable of taking it on, which, because the system is web-based, Greg Pollan sees a very easy transition of getting this implemented into our current system. So we're going to continue to test it internally, and hopefully over the next few weeks we'll be able to get it up and running and live pretty soon.
So you're still programming it basically as well?
Correct. I have groups that are calling, doing questions to the companion, and as we're getting responses, we're feeding that input back to Greg and his team so that they can modify the information and I can upload new data as necessary to help answer the questions going forward. So we've been focusing mostly on the companion piece, which is that internal thing we talked about for training, and the rights and responsibilities, which is that script that she will be providing to clients when we do our interviews over the phone.
Right, okay, so just for anybody who isn't familiar, EVA is what's the acronym stand for?
Eligibility Verification Assistant.
It's a okay. Well, that's good to hear. So you think it'll be up in a couple of weeks?
We're hoping it might be up in test phase in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Because we want to make sure that it's not going to create challenges when we go live. So we'll probably run it in test phase for a couple once it gets more information.
Let me know when it goes live by email.
yeah, we're excited. I'm excited for the decision. It's so hard for them to get a simple thing. Getting through to our call center, between being understaffed and being just a real high rate of applications. So people to get simple questions answered, information in real time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and especially with our working families, after the office is closed. Be excited to be able to really heighten our consumer response. You were also providing a familiar sheet of reports last year and one that's and milestones that the state sends us. Caseworkers, 50 or more. And our director of services is here. If you had questions, or Sarah, if you have any comments about where we're at with our workplace.
I think we're making very good progress. I just got an email from our QA and CPS that we put 65 last week, so that was huge. We're also making sure that our contacts are made as they need to be, so putting it all together, we're definitely making progress. And as our staff continue to be trained.
It looks good that the percentage of timely safety assessments is as good as it is. The number of cases that each worker has is
Yeah.
your work.
Thank you for recognizing that, and our staff have been working very hard to make sure that that happens. Our caseworkers, our seniors, are great. And this percentage is actually lower than it has been because they really focused on getting their contacts in. So when a safety assessment isn't done timely, it doesn't necessarily mean that safety has not done a steps. It just means that the funds weren't fixed within the system. So.
And the percentages that they have, these are, so for example, the percentages of overdue investigations. That is the percent of the overall number of investigations in the house at the time. So it's your house comparing percentage of overdue within your house. So it doesn't have to do with the actual number of overdues.
Right.
So,
Right.
so some other county may have, far more, but as percentages, so it's a lower.
Right, or less, with a lower caseload. Yeah, it could very well be. And then, last month for March, which you'll see in next month's report, we had 300 reports come in. So
That's a high number.
it's a very high number. This is typically our high point of the year, March, April, and then again in like October, November. So anytime, it usually coincides with bi-week reports from schools or report cards. We usually get them in once or before a break.
Thank you. Any other questions for anybody at DSS? Go ahead, Bert.
And you plan having the open house again this year, like you did before?
It's recruiting. There's no plan for this right now. Help has been wonderful. I think if we find that we're not getting strategy.
When you say help, you mean the program that the state's allowing you not to use
That's right.
to avoid civil service examinations?
That's it. That's been incredibly helpful.
Other questions? Does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay, I will look for the appropriate motion. All those in favor of anything to meet? Any opposed? Thank you.